There are 9 usually on the Planning Commission. If you would like to withhold your presentation tonight because of the number of members present, you may do so. It takes 5 members to pass a motion. You may do that. I do not have my script in front of me. Your tech is trying to get your the minutes up. I'm sorry. While we're waiting, I'd like to ask if the commission members have reviewed the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Motion has been passed, has been put forth to approve the minutes. Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that the minutes be approved. All those in favor? Any opposition? There's seeing none. The motion passes. The minutes are approved. The first item on our agenda, Mr. Tyson, would you read, please?
Certainly. It's presented by Precision Surveying on behalf of Lester Landrum. It's a request for final approval of Lester Landrum Plat Number 1 on the west side of Stokes Road, some 6,200 feet south of Lower Wetumpka Road. It's a flood hazard district.
Is the petitioner present? Please come to the podium and speak directly in the mics.
Yes, ma'am. I am Lester Landrum, and I am on the property on Stokes Road. What's the question?
I'm sorry?
What was the question? You asked me a question?
No, we just, you have a petition before us, and we just want to hear a little bit about the project.
Yes, ma'am. I understand that the speaker said there was a flood plain. Okay. I have the surveyor here, but I was just petitioning for the bill.
Okay.
Good evening. My name is Mike Marr. I work for Precision Surveying. We did the survey for Mr. Landrum. As we understand it, he wants to put a house on the property. To be able to do that, we just need to have a lot of record that's in a recorded subdivision. So we're taking the survey that we had done and producing the subdivision plat. We did check the flood records. I believe the reference to the floodplain refers to a larger tract of land that surrounds Mr. Landrum's piece. However, we checked the federal flood maps, and his property is not impacted by the 100-year flood that FEMA published. So the entire purpose behind the subdivision is simply to record it in a subdivision plat so he can get a building permit. And I'm here to answer any other questions you may have.
All right. Planning Commission members, do you have any questions regarding this?
I got a question for Tommy.
Yes.
Where'd you get the flood hazard from?
They laid it on years before I was here. They have parcels that are out of it, but the maps changed too. But it was with the satellite technology we have now, that they can more accurately see the elevation more carefully. But the zoning was put on it probably in the 60s.
Any other questions from the Planning Commission?
So, Tommy, you expect that he'll be able to get a free of a floodplain plat?
You can plat it in the floodplain. It's just he's going.
I can't hear you.
The surveyor said that he was going to make sure that it was not in a floodplain. They'll have to finish the floor at 2 feet over the flood elevation.
Okay.
Well, if it turns out to be, they just elevate the foundation.
May I just kind of bring some clarity on that? Am I allowed?
Yes.
Yeah.
When Mr. Landrum gets ready to build, the Building Codes Department may require an elevation certificate to be done, which will require us to come down and shoot an elevation on the ground and then provide the documents to show where the floodplain is, what the floodplain elevation is, and where Mr. Landrum's land lies. So at the point of him building a house, they'll also check the maps, and if so needed, we'll come down and provide that FEMA certification for him.
Okay, all right, shouldn't be an issue
Any questions or concerns from the audience? If you wish to speak, please come to the mic. Hearing none, is there a motion?
Motion to approve.
I second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor? Any opposition? Seeing none, the motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
The next item is by ECE Survey and Design LLC on behalf of Albert Abdur Rashid, requesting final approval of Albert Abdur Rashid, plat number 1A on the east side of Hale Street, some 350 feet south of North Decatur Street. It's an R65D district.
Is the petitioner present? ECE Survey and Design, are you present? Are you present, sir? Is this your project?
Come to the mic.
Good evening.
Good evening.
What's your name?
My name is Albert Abdur Rashid.
I'll do this.
Okay.
Sorry, sir.
My name is Albert Abdur Rashid.
All right. Go ahead and present your presentation, sir. Your request.
Ma'am, I didn't hear you.
Let us know what your project is about. What did you come here this evening for?
That particular property I'm having replatted in order to build, to add on to one of the buildings in the rear of the main house.
Okay.
Are you going to add on to the main house, or are you going to build another
Well, I'm
building?
a disabled veteran, and I have a mobile wheelchair and a regular wheelchair, and I can't, with the ramps that I currently have, because the house, the current house that I reside in is old, and the Veterans Administration added a ramp to it, and I can't get the mobile chair inside, and because of the spacing, I'm unable to navigate to the restroom and other areas of that particular house, and I wanted to be able to put the chair in the rear.
So you're trying to make it more accommodating for yourself?
Yes, ma'am. I'm totally and permanently disabled in the United States, from the United States Marine Corps.
Any other questions from the commission? Any questions, concerns from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move to approve. Second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor? Any opposition? Motion carries. It's been
Yes,
approved,
ma'am.
sir.
Is that it?
Thank you.
That's it.
I thank you very much. Appreciate
welcome.
the time
Thank you.
coming down. And, I had an epidural injection. That's why I'm a little late. Wasn't able to get here right away. But again, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Yes, sir.
Have a nice evening.
Thank you, sir.
Next item is by ECE Survey and Design LLC on behalf of Jackie Crawford, requesting final approval of Brookview Manor Plat number 13 on the south side of Oak Brook Drive, 120 feet north of Wild Brook Circle. It's the R65D and R60S districts.
Hi,
All right.
my name is Yolanda Watkins Bailey. I'm representing Jackie Crawford. She's not here. She's my sister.
All right.
But she's looking to plat 4 lots to build single-family housing, square footage between 1,100 to 1,300 per square foot, total square feet.
All right. Any questions from the commission? Is there questions or concerns from the audience? Is there a motion?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and properly second. All those in favor? Any opposition has the same right? None. The motion passes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
The next item is presented by Brian Cowan. It's a request to rezone a parcel of land at 12317 Atlanta Highway from Ag 1 to M1.
I've got some handouts they said they couldn't put on the screen. Could
Can you
I,
give us your name, sir?
Brian Cowan.
All right.
Yeah, just hand them out while he.
You can just,
And I'm Jay Tidwell. I'm a friend of his, just to come help him with
All right.
this. I'm a real estate
you
broker.
should have passed him out and he could have been talking.
Should have been paying better attention.
He came to help you. You're welcome. All right, you can proceed, sir.
Okay, so I purchased this property in 2006, and prior to 2006, it was a borrow dirt pit where trucks were actively, hauling aggregate out of this property, and I acquired it in 2006, and I owned a timber company, and we had trucks. We operated out of there. Had a county business license. I was considered in the county at the time. I didn't know exactly where the PJ was in '06, but the county told me I was in the county. So I've had a county business license at this location since 2006. And I've had my business operating out of an office there in a lay-down yard. And when they were doing the construction on the outer loop, I leased the property as a lay-down yard for the outer loop. And then a pipeline company came through and leased it to them. So, and then Alabama Power, when they were putting Highline substation and so on. So I had multiple tenants, mainly for a lay-down yard at this location. And so I'm just now learning that we have not been properly zoned. I've got a new tenant that approached me about leasing the property for the same reason. And so in their discovery, they approached me and said, hey, really this thing is not, is in the Montgomery City PJ. So therefore I started, educating myself with it, went to the office there here in downtown Montgomery to get, the procedure. So here I am, and I'm just trying to get it properly zoned for the use that we've been doing for the past 15 years there. And so I created some maps there. I think there's like 6 businesses that are adjacent, either east, west, or south of this piece of property, from automotive to the fire department, consolidated pipe, handy warehouses. But it's kind of split, and I know I'm on the fringe of the jurisdiction there, so I'm just trying to do the proper procedure.
So part of it is in the city and part of it is in the county?
That's correct. Pike Road is
It's not in the city limits, it's in the police jurisdiction.
Yeah, that's right.
The majority, there's a little sliver of it that's in the Pike Road jurisdiction.
Right.
It meets right there at the east side of his property, Pike Road and the Montgomery PJ.
So Pike Road had approached me about the part that's in Pike Road, so that's one reason why I'm here to, get what I can get in Montgomery, and then that's what I've been operating mainly. The part that's in the Montgomery PJ is where the most activity has been. We haven't done much with the other half of the property that's in Pike Road, so we just want to get it zoned correctly. Yeah. And I met with the neighbors, talked with the neighbors. They've been there through the whole process, never had any complaints. It's just, It's just the area. It's on the interstate. We got billboards, and I kind of was against the billboards at the time, and they're feeding off those other businesses, and the billboards are there close to this property as well.
But your property is not in the city limits of Montgomery.
No, sir. No, sir. I'm out as far as.
I'm reading. Okay,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
right.
But as far as I know, it's just in the PJ. It's not in the city limits.
But you
Tommy,
felt,
what's the latest on the lawsuits and all of that with the property that is in the county adjacent to Pike Road? We've had some lawsuits previously down here about who has the right to zone that. That's my understanding. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. There has been some litigation over that, and but we have not been instructed to hold off of anything.
So we are continuing to
Here on the case.
do the rezoning in the police jurisdiction of Montgomery, but not in the city limits,
Right,
even though it's adjacent to Pike Road.
right.
Okay. I just didn't want us doing something that we didn't have the authority to do, but at this point, we still have that authority.
well, a while ago when you was talking about everything around this property, you didn't mention the fact that there's a housing development right to the east of that.
This back, that's where Consolidated Pipe is running their business, is there at that.
But it is residential to the east.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty heavily wooded between us and them there.
What's going to happen with all those railroad cross ties on the property now?
That's correct.
Well, those are actually lay down, they're mats, they're not cross ties, they're mats for construction mats. So he's asking what's gonna happen with those, right?
Oh, yeah, we're selling those. We sell them pretty regular, until, it was from the previous tenant that was there. They had,
Is that portion part of the county or is that PJ?
some of both, I think.
I mean, where they're stored, where they're laying.
It kind of splits right in there. So some of it is and some of it is not.
It's just that southeast corner is in the PJ of Pike Road, and then the majority of it is in the PJ of Montgomery. So I just suggested to him, you've been using it for M1, and there's several other businesses. You got like an auto salvage yard that's probably been there for decades that's, should be in a M3 zoning that's just operating in ag, and there's as much business there as there is residential, but there again, none of it's been properly zoned, and he's just trying to correct the zoning for the use he's been using it for the past 15 years.
And this tenant that's going to lease it, what are they going to store on that property?
Containers,
Empty containers?
empty containers. Yeah, just somewhere to lay, same thing it's been being as a lay down yard, in this case, containers, but we've been using it for equipment mainly. And that's where the mats came from the pipeline company.
I see we have Mr. Robert Smith in the house, and he has a comment on this. Mr. Smith, would you like to comment on this property?
Good afternoon. Robert Smith, City Planning Department. I did send a comment basically opposing this rezoning request, largely because of the existing residential that's immediately adjacent to it, and also the zoning that that surrounds the property. So these are single-family residential homes that are right here, and then just up here, which is off the map, is a single-family residential subdivision, fairly large-size subdivision, and that was largely my reason for opposing it. Though it would be stackable storage, I don't think there would be anything obnoxious about that. These are just containers, but largely because there are homes here, and this whole area is zoned currently as residential agriculture. That was largely my opposition to it. So those are my comments. But it's up to y'all to make the decision on whether or not you would grant the rezoning or not. I did not know that he has been operating as I guess a laydown, you said a laydown yard, which was largely for building construction equipment or heavy equipment for the construction of the outer loop roadway. Gotcha.
Please speak into the mic.
The housing that he's referring to is outside of the PJ, and I assume would be in the county. I don't know if that makes a difference or not, but.
That's in Pike Road.
Oh, it is in Pike. Oh,
Yes.
It is Pike Road. Okay. Okay.
Do you know how old the subdivision is? Does anybody know how old the subdivision is?
Do I know how old the subdivision is? I do not know.
Been
I
there
do not know.
several years.
Was it before you got there? Were they there before when you got there?
Yes.
It probably is as old as it started in the 70s. I know there's some recent construction, but it's been there a while.
And my only other question is, this area is what I would consider an extreme growth corridor. That whole area of Pike Road and eastern Montgomery. So, I particularly think that there may be a higher and better use of the land than just the stackable storage yard. Just my initial thoughts. So, but he, as he said, he's been using it for 15 years as a laydown yard. Probably had that been known, based on it being zone Ag 1, that probably would have been a zoning violation had it probably been known. But
How long has that been in the PJ?
Please speak into the mic so it can be, everything is being recorded.
Oh, yes, ma'am, I understand. My question was, how long has that been in the police jurisdiction, or was it in the police jurisdiction when he purchased it in 2006? And the other thing I would like to say is, I agree with the growth. You don't want to inhibit the growth of residential, but with any residential, just for example, on the eastern bypass and Northeast Boulevard, you've got M1 property right adjacent to the Winbrook neighborhood and the Dexter Ridge neighborhood. And the Todd Industrial Park is right adjacent to a neighborhood. So you need M1 properties, not just for laydown yards. You can have light industrial, office warehouse, place for service type businesses, the pest control guy, the plumber, electrician, whatever at some point in the future. With it being M1, you could have a really nice little business park there for, service type businesses that would be able to support future residential growth. So, it's, and the fact that it's been like that since 2006, and prior to that, it was a gravel pit. So, there's been trucks going in and out of there for decades.
Well, and also to add to that these are temporary leases. They're year-to-year leases. There's no permanent structure going in here. It's not a development. It's same thing, like I said, been doing quite some time, just a temporary lay-down yard that they may have a portable, office trailer, and most activity will be to the north end of the property there. So it's not.
And that being said, we don't know what's going to come in there behind these people.
Yes.
the only other thing that I would add to it as I was looking in reviewing this particular petition, I did notice that half of the property is in a flood is in a flood area, if that makes a difference. So half of it may only be able to, if it was constructed on, it would have to be built, just like one of the other petitioners earlier, would have to be built above the base flood elevation to accommodate the flood related issue. But I turned on a flood layer in the computer mapping system and found that out about this particular property, even though it doesn't show that up there, but probably only half of this property could be used, really just literally split down the middle of it. So for what that's worth, just for your information.
Yeah, and also to answer your question, that I thought that if anything was to come behind, this potential lease, that it would have to be if there was going to be a structure or some sort of development, I thought it would have to come before the planning committee as well. If there's anything that as far as development or permanent structure, anything other different than a laydown yard.
Yeah, well, when they applied for a permit, then
Right.
that division would,
Correct. That was my thinking on that, and that's the reason why I'm here now for the proper zoning for the laydown.
but Tommy, that,
Are you,
All right.
our paperwork doesn't show any flood hazard.
Well, Robert said he didn't see it until he dug a little deeper.
I know, but the map that Tommy looked at should have shown it.
What do you need, Mr. Jones?
No, I
Oh.
letting security know he had somebody at the door.
Oh, I see, okay.
A little branch or
Um,
drain that goes across there.
Any other concerns, questions?
are you planning on the portion that is in Pike Road, are you planning on rezoning that? I mean, we don't have any jurisdiction in Pike Road.
No,